as a 21-year-old and you get the threats that I got, it is devastating, very disappointing. But I knew that I had to continue with life, and to a great extent, I managed to do that. However, it's probably the most difficult time that I've ever had, and I would wish that for someone else. Well, it was after the time that my wife almost got kidnapped, and that was difficult for her, and it was difficult for me as well. But you start to put life into perspective to say, if my wife loses her life, or if I lose my life, is it really worth it? And then because of that, we decided, would take it quick. Probably the last one, which is when my wife almost got kidnapped. I mean, that was quite scary. Yes, I'd been shown pictures of dead people, but it can't be compared to when Loveness almost got kidnapped. It was more the misappropriation of funds than the politics. When there was Henry and Andy, it was more the politics, but with me, it was more the mismanagement of funds. Of course, I mean, there are most players, not most, some players, the top players are paid properly. However, the rest of the players are the ones that were not being paid properly. But you don't. A team is not made up of 2, 3, 4 players. You must have a team. Now, when you hear people saying that someone from Zimbabwe has done well, it's they've got to be respected, because there are a lot of issues that Zimbabwean cricketers go through that a lot of players from other countries don't go through. And it's very difficult to go on a cricket pitch when you've got what I call car park issues. So things that indirectly affect a player's performance. Well, I mean, over the years, it has been the story in Zimbabwe. It's a recurring story for over the years that players are not really looked after as well as the players in other countries. If we're taking percentages, I think the other boards get a bigger percentage than what our Zimbabwe players get. Unfortunately, it is like that. It has been like that for years. But to answer your question, we know that if our cricket governance does not improve, then those problems will always be there. Well, when he first signed for a corporate deal, I understood where he was coming from, because I know the system well. And then when he got back, that was me that instigated that that comeback. And it was nice for me to play a part, for a friend to be able to come back and play for his country again. Well, I think I think the reason is because there's most of the selection that's being done now is on current form, and so whoever is playing on TV is the ones that looked at. I've seen several situations where there's a player who's just done well just before an IPL season, and he gets a big contract and maybe plays the first 2 games and is not to be seen for the rest of the the tournament. So that's a decision for current form, and not a lot of decisions are made on potential. At the end of the day, I'm in Zimbabwe, and I would have loved to see Zimbabwe being part of the biggest, cricket biggest stage, which is the World Cup. And unfortunately, they are not part of it, and it is disappointing. Well, there are 2 ways to look at it, to be honest with you. The one side is, if they come to support Zimbabwe, and then Zimbabwe starts to generate a lot of money, then is that money going to be used by our own administrators for the good of the game? That's a question mark. Then you look at the other side. If no one supports Zimbabwe cricket, then the cricket simply still dies. So that's the 2 options that I am, stuck in between. Because as long as the governance of the sport in the country is too bad, then we can't expect any better. We can't expect our players to play well. Unfortunately, that's the honest truth that's there on the table. I would ask as a keeper, to another keeper, is sometimes he doesn't have his hands together, but he manages to, to catch the ball cleanly. Whereas normally you would want to see, a keeper having, both hands together. So that's probably one thing that I would talk to him about, the keeping techniques that differs from country to country. Autobiography I've heard so many good reviews about it from different people. There is something in it for cricket lovers. There is something in it for people who follow politics in Zimbabwe. There is something in it, for just people who love reading books. I've heard so many people say that autobiographies are a bit boring because they go too technical on the details of the sport. However, my autobiography is not the same. It's the cricket part is there, but it's not overriding the whole thing, and neither is the politics the one that's ruling the book. But it's all really balanced. I've had several people that I've read it from, different walks of life, and the common thing that people have said is, once I picked up the book to start reading, I wasn't able to put it down. So that's quite nice for me to hear. Really, it's just to make sure that the sport doesn't die in the country. I mean, a lot of people have put so many hours to get Zimbabwe cricket to where it is now, and it will be so sad to see the sport dying in the country.